Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. We are here on this wonderful Friday. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to everybody who's here. I see Amanda has joined us and Dan from Omaha. Hello again from Omaha, Dan. Shauna, Frank, Dennis, Grant, you guys are all around. Happy Friday to you. We are here to say some good stuff about us and to really take control of our internal monologue. The things that we say about ourselves really helps to define the way that we behave in the world. I was actually on the internet yesterday, just kind of reading a conversation. Somebody had written a blog post, and they were basically talking about relationships and how they, how sometimes they will tell a story in their own head about their relationship and how they feel lonely even though they're surrounded by people who love them. And it really got me thinking about how we are changing that, how we are changing that narrative up, how we are changing our own internal narratives, and just how much we tend to believe the thing that we think. So it is wonderful for you guys to be here. Good morning. Robert and Lauren have shown up, possibly from different states. Good morning, Selena. Good to see you too. So anyways, we're going to go through one of the cards from my deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We're all going to say out loud that we are the affirmation, and then we're going to write it down and affirm it for each other. So without further ado, let's go ahead and say that today I am accountable. I am accountable. I take responsibility for my actions. So I am accountable. I take responsibility for my actions. While we're thinking about that for a moment and saying these words, are you accountable? And you are accountable. You take responsibility for your actions. I'm going to write that down in the chat, just like you guys already have. Armando has beat me to it. Amanda has beat me to it. You guys are amazing. Good morning, Brenda Jean. You have arrived as well. And so, what is accountability? What is responsibility? Now, the word responsibility is in the word responsibility. It is the ability to respond. When somebody is responsible for something, they are the one who has the ability to respond in order to make sure that the outcome comes. The outcome is what we prefer it to be. And I chose a Zen garden to really indicate this, because when I don't know if you've ever worked on a Zen garden, if you've ever moved stuff around in sand, but every time we move sand, we move other sand. Every time that we make a little ripple in sand with that little sand rake, it makes another ripple in the sand as well. Robert's wondering how we type it all so fast. I'm good at this, Robert. I've done this before. But I think that's really what accountability is all about. Accountability is about being able to count our responsibilities, being able to just remain. To remain accountable basically means that we can trace back our steps, and that we can, when we look at the things that we are responsible for, that all of the stuff that we've done with it is intentional. And that's really what this is all about. Zen gardens are a very intentional space. A Zen garden is a place where we put a great deal of intention into a small area, or perhaps a very large area. But either way, we're putting attention into it. Those rocks didn't stack themselves; they were stacked intentionally, and the sand around them was raked intentionally. I was once at a business conference, and we were talking about responsibility. We're talking about responsibility as it pertains to leaders. And the organizer of the conference, or the speaker at this particular session, took $100 bill and pinned it to the cork board in the front, and said, "Who is responsible for this $100 bill?" And so we talked about it for a bit. We talked about how, maybe the government is responsible for it because they're the ones who printed it, or maybe society as a whole is responsible for it because, like money is this social construct that we all play with. But none of these things, the facilitator was trying to get us to something deeper. And finally, one of the participants walked up to the board, pulled the $100 bill off, and put it in a different location and said, "I'm now responsible for it." And the presenter said, "Absolutely, you are. You are responsible for it. You are the one who moved it. You are the one who was able to respond to its existence there. You're the responsible one." And so he goes to sit back down, and she's like, "Oh, no, 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 no." And she hands him the $100 bill. She's like, responsibility comes with responsibility comes with privileges as well. So keep the $100. I remember thinking, boy, I wish I was been the one to get up and go and just move that $100 bill from one side of the board to the other. But ultimately, being responsible just means that we are able to respond to changing situations. And when we take responsibility, that means that we say that we are the ones who are, we are the ones who are willing to make the change. We are the ones who are willing to lead in that situation. And that's what we do in life. We are leaders in our lives. Leadership is a rarefied trait. Most people do not have it. Most people are quite content to follow all the time. And yet there are some points in our life where we really have to be a leader, where our skills, our talents are called into the necessity of being a leader. And so and also all of us lead our lives in the way that are important to us. And so when we are accountable, that allows us to really, accountability is essentially something that permits us to know who we ask questions to, and who gets to, who do we get our answers from, and who get their answers from us. And when we understand our place in whatever social situation that we're in, then that allows us to have an incredible amount of power. So we are accountable people. We take responsibility for our actions. And that is such a rare trait, even in adults, that just doing so will elevate us in any social strata that we find ourselves in. So we are accountable people. And so right now, let me be accountable for the week behind us. We just had a wonderful week, and we went through a bunch of cards. So let's go through them again, as is our custom on Friday, to just go through these things and see what the week brought us. And next week I'll have another set of cards, and we'll see what the week ahead brings us as well. So we started out on Monday by proclaiming and declaring that we are free, that we release attachment and embrace possibility. And so, and we do. And by releasing attachment to who we used to be, we get to become who we are. So, Brenda Jean talks about, she's saying she journals for 5 minutes each AM and 10 each PM. AM is planning, PM is review of where you succeeded and where you can do better tomorrow. That's a wonderful, wonderful practice of doing that. And that allows us to release attachment. So on Tuesday, we said that we are dedicated, that we commit wholeheartedly to our pursuits. And if we're free and we release attachment to the things which are holding us back, how could we do anything else except commit wholeheartedly? In the same way as the blacksmith is committed, as soon as they heat up that steel, heat up that iron, we have to strike while the iron is hot. It's one of the rules of the Iron Age. And so we commit wholeheartedly to our pursuits. On Wednesday, we declared that we are captivating, that our natural charisma holds attention. And we discussed how each and every one of us has a natural charisma, that we are all able to attract a certain type of people. And the people that we attract are oftentimes people like us. There are people that I know that I don't necessarily consider charismatic, and yet I watch how they gather others around them, and I'm like, they have a charisma that is absolutely attractive to others. And we have to recognize that the folks who are surrounding us are a mirror for who we are. On Thursday, we declare that we are empowering, that our influence uplifts and inspires. And why wouldn't it inspire? If we are free people, if we are captivating people, if we are dedicated to the things that we're doing, that sort of activity in a world full of distraction, that kind of activity inspires and uplifts us. And so it empowers the people around us. And so there's a difference between being empowered and being empowering. When I made this card, I was like, wait, I know I've done an empowered card. Being empowering is the plural of being empowered. It is the social implication of being empowered. When we are empowered, we empower other people. Which finally took us to today's, that we are accountable, that we take responsibility for our actions. And the way that we take responsibility is by doing all of the things that we are doing right here, right now. When we affirm this stuff about us, when we say these good words about ourselves, when we commit to having an internal narrative that is positive for us, we are accountable to other people. We are taking responsibility for our own actions. We are saying, hey, the world's happening, and I'm going to respond to it in a positive and empowering way. Which takes us, of course, to the final card of the week, and you all know what it is. It is the We Are Awesome card. Let's recognize our inherent value and worth. We do this every morning because we recognize our inherent value and worth. I recognize that each and every one of you is valuable in my life for different reasons, and that each and every one of you is worthy of being here and being in my life and being on this broadcast because of who you are, because of your dedication to just being the best person that you can possibly be. You are awesome, and an awesome Saturday, which is coming up here very shortly, is our reminder that we can recognize our inherent value and worth. So that was our week, guys. That was our week. I'm so excited for next week to see what it brings. But when I look back on those cards, I recognize that all kinds of, all manner of interpretations were true for me. And so I want to say thank you guys so very much for being here and for just having a great week with me. I'm really excited to say that I'm moving closer to printing out physical copies of these cards. You guys are probably well aware that I have physical card decks, and so if you want one of those, let me know. I'll get it out to you. But I will have other physical card decks. I'm working on making a new box art for these, continuing to make more. I guess I'll be accountable, so I am continuing. So many of you know that I have accepted a full-time job, but I am continuing to do the wake-up call. I'm not stopping that. I'm not going to stop making cards, and I am going to continue to really put this message out there into the world. So that's my accountability to you. I love you and care about you. I think that you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming by and chatting. All my friends are just here. There's like 17 people online right now. How cool that is. So I just want to say have a fantastic weekend to Amanda and Dan from Omaha. I hope that the weather in Omaha is wonderful for you. To Shauna and Frank and Dennis and Grant and Robert and Lauren and Selena and Brenda Jean and Armando. You guys are absolutely incredible. April, I saw, has shown up here today, and Dennis. Let's see here. Who else has come by? All manner. Mima has shown up today to just celebrate with us. And yeah, it looks like that is, gosh, there's a lot of comments here. Looks like that's about it. Troy has pulled in at the very end. So anyways, guys, we are accountable people, and we are going to be accountable for our actions. I will talk to you on Sunday at 9 p.m. We're going to go through the affirmations for next week, and we are going to continue to expand this card deck so I can get even more ready for printing, and to just continue to say good stuff about us so that we can continue to change the world and remake it in our own image. Until then, I love you, I care about you, and I believe all of these things for you. I see it in your lives, and I know it's true. I'll talk to you then. Aloha from paradise.